Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in honor of the community poetry, which was normally at Half Price Books, that I don't know how many times I hosted in honor of when Tom Woodruff host couldn't make it. Since it can't be going on, I thought I'd read to you a few poems from the brand new cc&d book release, released yesterday, volume 318, the February 2022 issue, titled The Great White. The Great White. And here are 3 poems for you. I hope you enjoy them. This first one is titled Understanding Terrorism's Interior. How many times these days do we see terrorists and not understand it? Because we see Al-Qaeda attacks and we don't understand. We assume the Islamists are envious of our wealth. Because we only pay attention to what is right in front of us. We don't realize what our own government was more than happy to fight communism by giving Mujahideen Islamic fighters money and weapons to fight the Russians. But once they were free, us Americans thought we could westernize the Middle East, which was the last thing they wanted. Translation, they were fine with taking our money so they could fight, but otherwise they didn't want to be messed with. And boy, high and mighty us. we gave them some money because, boy, did we want a medal. Did that mean we deserved the terror attacks in '93 and '01 and all the mini attacks since in between? Probably not, but when you're really trying to make a point, sometimes the most radical and absurd is, in some people's minds, the only way to go. Sometimes the prejudice some people face seems to be too overpowering to believe or even comprehend. It still boggles the mind to think people exist who truly believe their race is all that matters. Their race. Really. And if that's not enough, they can also hate some religions and use that ever so seductive violence and murder to get their point across. The scary thing is that this terrorism flourished in the United States in 3 different rounds from one group. The Ku Klux Klan gave white men the feeling they were doing more than merely preserving the only thing they thought was good, when in actuality it was just isolating them from anything interesting or different in the world. When their solution to their isolation went beyond changing laws to make sure certain people weren't welcome, this narrow vision reduced them to killing innocent people, to thinking that hanging them from a tree helped their message. It's scary to think that this can exist on our own shores, and maybe it is. Maybe it comforts us to know that this latest 3rd round of the Ku Klux Klan is only a sliver of the size it once was here, but it's lurking to catch us once we feel safe. Terrorism scares us because we all believe that we are open and welcoming and willing, and we forget that we only choose to spend time with those who are like us and who cushion our own narrow beliefs. We may not be terrorists, but in our own way, we choose that same isolation that may maybe lead to terror. We think we're above it all. We think that we're better than that. And then we look in the mirror and wonder what we really see. That was poem 1 from The Great White, the most recent book release from the cc&d magazine through Scars Publications, the volume 318 of February 2022 issue. It's got a palm tree with a lot of snow on it, which seemed very appropriate for The Great White. This second poem of 3 is a little bit shorter, and it's titled A Video Killed a Radio Star. Living in rural Pennsylvania years ago, even before the internet or cable TV, he hooked up wires with his old radio so he could hear the signal for WGN and hear Chicago Bears football games. One night when I was little, when I was supposed to be in bed sleeping, I heard on the radio that John Lennon was shot and killed. I knew it before my family read it in the Chicago Tribune the next morning. As I grew up, I loved listening to the radio. I couldn't afford to buy all that vinyl with no allowance, so it was the coolest thing to hear new releases for free, right down to dance music mixes on the weekends. After moving to the northernmost edges of Chicago proper, I called one of the most popular Chicago FM radio stations because the DJ had art of theirs in my lit mag. So we talked poetry on and on the air. Over the years, I have read poetry on the radio. I've been interviewed and have sung songs on radio stations across the country. And sure, since then I've appeared on TV and have been on YouTube like mad, but still, there's an unending allure to that radio, to have the opportunity for people to judge not on the way you present yourself on camera, but hearing your words, hearing the sound of your voice, broadcasting so all could imagine. Thought I'd hide myself a little for the idea of radio for that one for you. Here's one more short poem for you from this book. It is a Twitter-like poem of periodic tables. When I have an opportunity to have periodic table poems, I may have an Instagram image that would appear also on Tumblr and Twitter and Facebook and the like, and this one, which is called Carbon Copy, is really, really tiny and hard to see on this. You could see the edges of it, but if you want to know, you can go to scars.tv and look for the poem Carbon Copy and find out this image actually in the actual poem. This is called Carbon Copy. I see the plastered model pics of big blonde buxom bimbos, vacuous carbon copies, replicas, and this is what men claim to adore. This carbon-based life form is, underline, not a carbon copy. Our intentions may be the same, but look at the difference of me. Carbon Copy. You can check this out online if you want to know the details for that image. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for this little tiny installment of poetry from a brand new book from Scars Publications, the cc&d book from February 2022, 222, volume 318, that is titled The Great White. The Great White. Yay, hippy skippy, the Great White. Because I am reading in honor of Tom Woodruff's monthly, first Wednesday of every month, community poetry reading, and it used to be at half price books, but thanks to COVID and pandemics, we were all in separate spaces. So I thought I'd buy as many books as I could, like I was at a bookstore, and share poetry with you. I will come back very shortly with another reading in honor of this reading on the first Wednesday of every month from 1 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I hope everyone's remaining safe. I hope everyone is vaccinated and staying healthy, and I look forward to talking to each and every one of you very, very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.